Question 1. When having a student in the classroom with a disability, is it hard to get them involved with like the other students?
I feel like it can be, and a lot of times it's just because of regular ed students being unsure or just not familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a lot of times our role in the classroom is to break down the barriers. So we must first kind of build friendships and trust with the regular ed students, and a lot of times I'll start with little things like asking them, hey, can you sharpen a pencil for me? Can you sit here a minute so I do this? And it slowly dips their toe in the water,
Mm-hmm.
so that they, instead of it coming at them all at once, you can slowly teach them how the ways and how to become familiar with their peers that have special abilities.
Awesome. Okay, and then has it ever been challenging for you to have a student in the room with a disability, like trying to get them like involved with other students, like especially if like some seem kind of standoffish?
Yeah, sometimes it's challenging, and it's always, you have to find out what moves them. Is it music? Is it animals? You know, what connects them? And so a lot of times I'll use that as a way. Like I had one student who didn't like to go to class, but she really liked sharks. And so, you know, I brought a shark in for her to talk to, and gave it to a regular ed student to start the conversation with the student I was with about sharks. So
That's cool.
It's just kind of finding what means something to them, and then that's the way I try to connect them, either with class, in trying to subject matter, you know, using whatever tool I need to help them connect, or just with peers, helping that use it as a tool to connect with peers.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the social part of the classroom is the most important, because they might not get what, you know, the continental divide is, but will they build a friendship in there?
Awesome. I like that. And then what is the hardest part for you personally with being a teacher with a student with a disability in the classroom? Like, what I've been noticing is in the other interviews, they've talked about when new staff come, like trying to get the staff to regain trust with the students. Like, is it really kind of hard to have students get used to having new staff or even students?
Yeah, that's always a challenge, because then they need to like learn. Like sometimes some of the students are harder to understand, and the more you hear them, the easier it is to understand them. But I think a lot of times the challenges in the classroom is your goal, and the reason why there's not a lot of, some states, kids in special ed are integrated in the system is because it didn't work before. It was too much of a distraction. So you have to find that balance. You have to find, because you obviously you want to create a great learning environment for everyone, and your number one goal is to follow the teacher's lead. So a lot of times that can be challenging if you're not on the same page. So it's really important to build the relationships also with the teachers, because you want to be on the same page, because you want to follow their lead. You want to be an asset in that classroom, an asset to the regular ed students, an asset to the students in special ed. So like that's one thing I think can be challenging, is finding exactly where you fit and what your role is, and how to make the experience the best for the teacher, the best for the student you're with, and then the best for the peers in the classroom.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, question 1. What made you decide to do peer mentoring?
It was actually an accident. I had an open period and every other class was full, so I had to do peer mentoring, and I'd never done it before. So.
Oh, sweet. Do you think it's an important class for people to take?
At the beginning, I didn't. You know, I didn't think it was kind of like an easy A class, but now that I'm in it, it's taught me so much about treating people the way they should be treated, and everyone is so important, and I don't know, I couldn't imagine not taking it now that I've taken it.
Oh, that's awesome. More on a personal level, is it important to you?
Oh my gosh, so important. The Tuesdays that I don't have peer mentor, or the days that Amanda is gone, are some of the saddest days of the week, because she's just, I don't know.
It's Amanda.
Yeah, Amanda makes my day. Like, she's so funny, and all the kids have such big personalities. Like, like, they have giant personalities.
They have sass. I love it.
They have so much sass, and yeah, so I think, I don't know, it's probably fun to funnest time of the day.
And then what is a hard personal struggle with having that class? Like when you see students not including the students with disabilities, like, or anything like that. When you see people like being really standoffish, like that kind of thing.
I think it makes me kind of feel bad for the people that are really standoffish and don't understand, because those, like, I don't know, I feel like I'm grown so much since I joined the class, and the people who don't really understand and don't know the kids and you learn so much from them, then that's kind of like, I kind of pity them a little bit, and I don't know, and I struggled a lot with treating them equally, but now they're just part of, I don't know, I don't even see the differences anymore.
Yeah,
they're just the same.
They're the other students. There are more students in our school.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
They're just the fun students in our school.
True. Thank you. Question 1. What made you decide to do peer mentoring?
A bunch of my friends did it, and also I grew up in a very heavy community with my aunt. She has 2 people with disabilities living with her, so I've always been involved, and I thought this was a really cool way to help people around the school, so I always wanted to kind of do it.
Okay, do you think it's an important class to take?
Yeah, I think that everyone should, if they don't take the class, they should be somewhat involved, because it really helps people who normally wouldn't get to have as much of a social life get a social life, and I feel like it's important for everyone to encourage that.
Personally to you, why is it important?
I feel like I knew the kids, but I didn't know them on a personal level, so I felt like it was really important for me to get to know them, because they're such great kids. Everyone underestimates them, I feel like, and I feel like it was important for me to truly know what they were dealing with and be able to help them.
Awesome. Would you want to keep taking this class?
Oh yeah, I'm going to try to take it as many times as I can, work with as many kids as possible.
That's awesome. And then what is the hardest personal struggle for you in taking this class?
Probably watching the kids struggle, because there's sometimes that's out of my hands, especially not being able to help them. So seeing them want to do something and trying to do something but not being able to do it because of a physical problem or something that's blocking them from doing it is really a hard thing to see.
Okay, thank you. Okay, when having a student in your room with a disability, is it hard to get them involved with other students?
Yes and no. Honestly, it depends on the student. It depends on whether or not they are a student that is verbal or nonverbal. And it honestly depends a lot of times with their mood and what the activity is. Some of my success that I've seen in the classroom over the past year is just taking my student and taking the time when we're working in a group. For instance, one of my world history classes, my student oftentimes will work in a group, sometimes we'll go and do something different. When we work in a group together, I initially took my student and we met with our group, and I just explained, hey, this is so-and-so, we're going to be working in the group today. Just introduce them, let everybody get to know each other a little bit, and then just kind of talk and support and say, hey, I myself as the educator, I'm going to step back and let you guys do the group setting and do what you need. I'm here as a resource for each and every single one of you. If something does happen, if you do need me, feel free to call me, I will come over and help. And it's taking that and getting that involvement and getting the participation from the regular education students really is our key to success in our special education program, because that really helps further the academic process for our students.
Okay, and then question 2, has it ever been challenging for you to have a student with a disability in the classroom?
Yes and no. I mean, like we all say, I've had instances where my special education students honestly behave better than most of the regular ed students in class. I've seen that in several classes throughout my time here at the high school. The only times I've ever had issues with having a student with disabilities in the regular ed classroom is when they either have a tantrum or an outburst. And there was one time we were going around and we were doing our recycling in the morning. I do that with one student, and there's a class taking an exam, and student was super quiet, doing everything exactly what we need to, and the second we open that door, just screams at the top of his lungs and scares the entire class of students. And the teacher sitting at her desk thought it was the funniest thing ever. I was mortified myself because of everybody in this class that was taking this exam that is now distracted. But it honestly, it depends. You kind of take each and everything as a case-by-case basis. Working in special education isn't necessarily something that you can do by the book. It's kind of something you grow into and just figure out how to do.
Sweet. And then question 3, what is the hardest part personally when being a teacher with a student with a disability in the class? Like, or even when you get like a new staff member, is it hard to help the students gain a better connection with them, to like give them, make sure that they have a better trust level with the new staff or even students or peer mentors?
I think the biggest thing on it is, one, our initial thing is we want to get to that, we want to connect with our students. We want to get to that level to where our student can trust us as staff, they can trust other students. But as well as within the classroom, my biggest struggle is, and it actually took some time for me to realize and get through and discover on my own, is learning and realizing that each student is individual and unique in their own way, and they're not at the same level. That's not the best way that I want to say it, but some of our special education students, you have to think, I'm in a high school setting right now. Some of my students aren't at a high school level. We're working on things such as counting with money, counting by dimes or counting by twos. And then when I go and sit in a regular ed classroom, I have to realize, okay, my student's not going to be able to sit there and take 3 pages of notes from a lecture. We need to incorporate something else into this lesson so that way it's a little bit more innovative and adaptive to our students. And that actually took some time for me to realize and get through. This job can be frustrating at times, but it's the joy thing. It's the fun times, it's the things that really just make your heart smile that really make this job worth it.
Awesome, thank you.
Question 1. What made you decide to do peer mentoring?
I don't really know. It was just something I really wanted to do, and yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Question 2. Do you think it's an important class to take?
I think it's a very important class to take. It gives you opportunities to work with other kids that have disabilities, and just kind of sets you up for life.
Sweet. Question 3. Why personally is it important to you?
Well,
Like, have you had any personal experiences with the students that have made you want to keep doing it? Things like that.
well, seeing Poe and Mary and everyone messing around at lunch and going up and talking to other students and stuff, it's just, they're people that I really want to get to know and figure out.
Sweet. Question 4. Would you keep taking it?
I would definitely keep taking it. I'm planning on taking it next semester. It's just a really fun class where you don't really have work, but it's just learning about other things rather than school.
I wish I could just sit there.
Okay, question 5. What is the hardest, personal struggle with taking the class? Is it, trying to gain trust with the students when you get given a new student to work with? Or trying to get them involved with other students who are maybe a little bit more, standoffish?
It's definitely kind of hard, to figure, to get them to, hang out with each other and, also, to get them to interact with other students that are not in their class. It's, they are, shyer and things like that.
Sweet. Okay, thank you. Okay, question 1. What made you decide to do peer mentoring?
Well, those kids really like to dance, and I really like to dance, and so I thought we'd just get along, and they're really cool people, so yeah.
Sweet. Why? Do you think it's an important class to take?
Yeah, I do think it's an important class to take because it's good to understand people who are different than you, so we can just get along better and understand our differences.
Sweet. Why is it personally important to you? On a more personal level, I guess. Do you have personal experiences that made you want to take it?
I guess maybe it's the lack of my personal experience that made me want to take it because
Sweet.
I don't know.
Sweet. No, which is fine. Would you want to keep taking it for the rest of your high school career?
Yeah, for sure. It's so much fun.
That's so awesome. Okay, and then what is the hardest slash like personal struggle with doing it, like finding the trust with the students for them to trust you, or seeing them not get included in activities at school, like
I don't know. I think we do a pretty good job of including them in things at school. I feel like maybe that first like communication, like how I can best communicate with them was the hardest thing for me, but then I know it became easier as the semester went along.
awesome. And then would you recommend it to other people?
Yeah.
Sweet, thank you. Question 1. What made you decide to do peer mentoring?
I've seen a lot of people do it, and they always look like they're having a lot of fun, and I wanted to get more involved with the people in that class, so I decided to do it.
Sweet. Number 2, do you think it's an important class to take?
Yes,
Why is it important?
because you get the experience of like working with people with disabilities, and in a lot of schools they don't really let the kids do that. They just let them work with teachers instead.
Okay. Would you want to keep taking it, like if you were given the opportunity?
Yeah.
And then last question, what is the hardest / personal struggle with taking it? Like trying to find connections with the student you're working with, or what?
I would say trying to understand them like on a more like personal level instead of just looking at them as like having a disability.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Question 1. What made you decide to do special education teaching?
Wow. Honestly, it's because my mom was a special ed teacher, which is kind of crazy. I just always enjoyed working with students and being in and out of her classroom, and I just always liked working with students with special needs.
Solid. That was awesome. Okay. Question 2. What college did you attend?
Lewis Clark State College.
Okay. I knew that. Question 3. What classes in college did you have to take in order to get your degree, besides like the intern hours kind of? Yeah.
Well, there's actually a lot of classes you have to take. I mean, originally you take like just an intro to teaching class, and that is actually a really good class because you take like it's a 20 to 30 hour practicum, and so it puts you in the schools right away, and it helps you realize, oh, I like these little guys, or oh, these guys are not fun, I don't want to teach. And that's really is a cool class to have at first, and then the more you get into the program and you get accepted into the teaching program, there's a lot of classes you have to take. You have to take evaluation classes, how to teach, just how to teach, how to, language development classes, child development classes. There's a lot of psych classes. I'm actually really close to having a psych minor just because teaching requires so much psychology.
Yeah.
So yeah, and a lot of special ed classes.
Okay. Would you choose to do another job, or are you like pretty set and happy?
I changed my mind about that a lot, actually. I quit teaching for 3 years. I went to work with the state of Idaho, and then decided that bored me to death, because, never mind, I won't say that. It was really boring, and I came back to teaching again. I'm projecting 10 years from now. I don't know if this is what I want to do forever, but it's always going to involve students, and it's always going to probably involve students with special needs. I'm really looking at kind of doing some more somehow combining like behavioral stuff with assistive technology stuff. But with my ultimate dream is I would like to convince the school district to hire me as a behavioral consultant and an assistive tech consultant would be my ultimate dream.
Really? And why is that?
Because I think I'm really good at pinpointing behaviors. I can watch a child and usually figure out what's going on, why they're, acting the way they are. And I really like assistive technology, and I don't think many people understand how assistive technology can open up the world for a lot of students, or even know how to use it, or how to implement it in their classroom. And I think that's something I'm also good at. So I can help all students and not just the students in my room.
I like that. Okay, thank you. Okay, question 2. Has it ever been challenging for you to have a student with a disability in the classroom that you're in?
Yeah, the classroom can present some certain challenges, such as having a student who is in a wheelchair who has to take a wellness class. You have to figure out, how do I involve this student when the teacher asks the other students to get up and do toe touches and do a couple of different exercises, and you have a student who's in a wheelchair who just has to sit there. So it's my job to try and help them not feel uncomfortable, not feel ignored, to make a way for them to participate, even in some small way, so that they don't always have that feeling that they're the odd man out sitting in the corner, while everybody else does all this stuff that they can't do. That just makes them focus more on their disability, and that can be kind of depressing. And so, you try and think about how can I involve the student in a creative way. Wellness classes also go on the bus sometimes, and perhaps your student is not able to go on a regular bus. They have to have a special needs bus that has a wheelchair lift on it. So those are things to think about that you have to be aware of. Or maybe a student, they need a break, they get frustrated in the loud noises of the classroom and they need a break, and you have to be mindful of that, how they're feeling, and give them opportunities to get calmed back down if that's what they need. There's just, every student has a variety of needs, whether they're physical or medical, mental, and you just have to be aware of those needs.
That was awesome. Okay, so question 3. This one's a little bit more complicated, but what is one of the hardest parts for you with being a teacher aide, when having students, when a new faculty member or even a new student comes into the classroom?
So sometimes it's new students or new faculty, or not even new, but sometimes you have differences between teacher personalities and student personalities. You have a handful of students, not a lot, but a handful of students who are very comfortable right away with somebody who has a disability. They don't have a problem saying hello and talking to them and engaging with them and helping them if you ask them if they can work with you. They're sure, no problem, Then you have other students who are and faculty who are very uncomfortable. They're not sure how to act towards the student. Some people, some teachers and students aren't even sure if they should talk to the student. They'll kind of talk to me, even though the student is sitting right next to me, and almost like they're not sure if they can ask the student questions. They'll ask a question about the student to me, and then I'll usually just turn next to the student and just ask them directly, to show them that this kid can answer,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes faculty, not all, but there are certain faculty members who don't necessarily understand the importance of why the student is there in the classroom, and they think that inclusion means just the student being there is enough, and it really isn't enough, because for a student to be included, they need to have interaction with their peers that are in the classroom. They need to feel like they can do assignments that their peers are doing, and those assignments may be modified so that they fit the level that student's able to do, but they need to feel like they're involved and they're part of the classroom and they do the work. Otherwise, they're just the kid in the corner, who sits there and doesn't know anyone, doesn't talk to anyone, but they're there. That's not inclusion. And again, it's also the fact that some faculty members are like the students I described. They are not sure how to talk to the students who have disabilities. They don't know how to include them. They don't know what to say or how to act. And so sometimes I help them get to know the student a little bit more, so that the two of them can come closer together, and that I can back off a little bit, so that I'm not this interpreter, and the students deserve to be included. They deserve to feel like they're just as important as all the other general education students, and that their work and their effort, while maybe different from some of the other students, is just as important and should be valued just as much.
I like that. Thank you.